One student sent me over an assumption deal that came from a broker that I had been. I knew about these guys. They were. I think they came out of someone's boot camp and then they became brokers. It's an assumption deal. They're looking for $42 million for the deal, and it's an assumption because the current product has 3.9% interest rate. So of course you're going to try to assume that product. But the debt on the product right now, the current outstanding debt is $24 million. So what would the one question you would ask to see if an assumption is even viable anymore? What's the one question? Before even what the rate is, because that's very important, but is a supplementary policy even available? Because and the broker's answer was such a broker answer. His answer was, obviously. That was his answer. Obviously. Well, no, it's not obvious because not every product has a supplementary loan available to it. Not every assumption deal has it. You can only add a supplement policy program once on an assumption. So if this lender has already taken it out, then you're out of luck. And when you've got a disparity in the price and the outstanding loan of the assumption so big, almost 50%, about 40%, that's going to kill your cash on cash return, and it's going to make the deal unviable. Here's the situation. When you're dealing with an assumption, the LTV is meaningless. You have to set your loan amount at whatever the outstanding balance is. And so then you take that base, which in this case was 24 million, and then you add on top of it what the purchase price is, and that's 42 million. The difference between the two is your down payment, because you have to assume. Now, what happened was Fannie and Freddie years ago realized, okay, our deals are great, and our prepayment penalties are huge. Defeasance or yield maintenance are huge. So people can't get out of our deals if the value of their properties has skyrocketed. And so therefore, we've got to come up with a solution so that doesn't happen. We've got to allow them to ratchet up. See, back when they first came out, that was the term that we used. They ratcheted it up. They ratcheted up the outstanding debt to 80% LTV. And then all you had to do was put down 20%, and then the numbers look great. And then remember this, so they call that ultimately a supplemental loan. So it's actually just a second mortgage, because it's not at the same interest rate as a primary mortgage. It's at the current interest rate for whatever is out there at that current time. So you have to do a blended rate in order to figure out what your absolute debt is on, or your DCR is on this particular property. And so, but Fannie Mae said, we're not going to get in the business of just doing supplemental loans. You guys can get this once, but once only. So essentially, it's really used when you're going to sell the property. Then you can get that loan. Essentially, what you're doing is you're pulling all but 20% of the equity out of your policy, and then selling the property and letting the new owner pay you the 20%. So that is how that supplementary loan works, and that's the first question you always need to ask when you're looking at an assumption deal. And when the broker comes back saying, well, obviously is not an answer, and it obviously shows his ignorance in some of those situations.